On this week's episode, Peloton's Cody Rigsby will be on the upcoming season of Dancing with the Stars.
And Peloton launched their new apparel line, and the new London studio opens, and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and John Pruitt.
Welcome to episode 52 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. I'm your host, John Pruitt, joined as always by my co-host, Amanda Siegel. Hey now, Amanda.
Hey, John. How you doing?
I am good. Been an exciting week, to say the least.
It certainly has. It has been a crazy week in the Peloton world, that is for sure. It's been a crazy week, I think, in our worlds too. Yeah. So we have lots to report on this week, but you've had a good week. Jackson's back at school.
Jackson's back at school. Things are good with the dog. Yeah. Good workouts this week. So yeah, good balance this week. What about you?
Yeah. So we had our Jewish New Year. So Rosh Hashanah was this past week, and for all the Jewish members and followers, Shana Tova. That entailed a lot of eating, and unfortunately, I came down. I started my week out strong. Figured I needed to work out to combat the food frenzy that we were going into, and then got sick in the midst of all of that. So excuse the somewhat gruff voice that I may have with lots of lozenges. I think I've kind of gotten there, and we're able to record decently today. But yeah, so I had to taper off on workouts. But I've got some fun ones for you guys. And John, you definitely put me up to the challenge there. So I will share my tread debut. And so far so good. There's gonna be some fun picks of the week for me. So I was able to get some really fun stuff out at the beginning of the week, and then came down, got COVID tested, was really anxious that it was COVID, but thank God not. Just a really rough, summer cold, end of summer cold with all the goodness that comes with it. So yeah, I've kind of been quiet in social media this past week, and for those of you that watch and want to know what happened, that's it. Got sick and wasn't in any mood.
When Leanne's away, not teaching live, Amanda's pretty quiet.
Her timing was perfect. She seems to coordinate with my schedules absolutely perfectly. I was away on holiday. She was away in Ibiza. I was sick this week. She's away in Mykonos. So it was absolutely perfect. I couldn't have asked for anything better. But yeah, John, we have lots and lots to chat about. So before we get started with the news, we do always like to remind you guys how you can keep up to date with all of our content across all of our platforms. Every episode is released on our YouTube channel. So just hit the subscribe button at the bottom right-hand side of the screen and hit notify to make sure that you never miss an episode.
Yep. And if you also want to listen to us in traditional podcast format, we're on all podcast platforms. Just search Pelo Buddy. Click subscribe, hit the notification so you never miss an episode, and leave us a review if you like the show, if you enjoy what you're watching or hearing week to week. We would love to hear your feedback, ways we can improve it, or maybe suggestions for upcoming interviews that we can do for you. So let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, folks, finally, we are on Facebook and Instagram. Most of you are already on there following us along and getting to hear all the HIHFs. But certainly feel free to follow us on those platforms too. So again, you never miss any of the latest news. And I guess, John, let's get on with the show.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
Exciting news. I don't know about you, Amanda, but I'm still on a high from the excitement of this news that Cody Rigsby will be on this upcoming season of Dancing with the Stars on ABC. It's their 30th season. It was just announced on Wednesday morning. Yep, on Good Morning America. The season premieres on Monday, September 20th at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you don't have ABC, if you're not, in the United States, you'll be able to watch through the DWTS, Dancing with the Stars website, or on Hulu. And I'm sure there's plenty of other outlets that, outside of the country where hopefully you all can tune in, because this is going to be a lot of fun watching this week to week and seeing Cody perform dance of his routines. I can't wait. I cannot wait to see him do his routine and then the judges critiquing him. And I can't wait to see the banter. I just hope there's really funny, obviously PG rated fodder banter between him and the other folks on the show. But it's,
John.
Everyone was so excited this week. So it was so fun messaging with people about him being on this show, and also when we didn't know if he was actually going to be on, the rumors were circulating these pictures of this masked person all covered up, his face all covered up, but people were pointing out the calves and footwear and a similar necklace that he had worn in previous social media pictures. So it was a lot of fun, speculating and waiting for the announcement the following morning.
Yeah, I mean, there was no question that it was an absolute goldmine for Peloton, for the community. I mean, who's not, crazy about Cody and his craziness, and to be able to have this opportunity to get to watch him each week is truly going to be amazing. It was interesting, John, though, because I found him to be rather subdued and a little timid in his interview on Good Morning America. I don't know if you felt the same way. And I think he's just holding back. Firstly, as he said, he'd only had about 3 hours sleep. He had been on that, that red eye the night before from New York. So clearly he was probably exhausted. It was 4:00 in the morning, his time, buddy time, when he was being interviewed. But I know that he definitely was holding back, because I think that once he gets on that show and he's shaking that booty of his, it is going to be a free-for-all. Don't you think?
I definitely agree with you, and I know what you mean, but I feel when Cody is being interviewed, whether it's for a podcast or he's, a video interview on a show, I feel like he's much more subdued. He's not the super vibrant, wild personality that we are accustomed to when he's teaching on the floor, on the bike. That's showtime for him.
Yeah.
But when he's being interviewed, he's kind of more serious Cody. He can still be funny, but he's restrained. So
true. That is true.
I know when when the show starts, he's going to give that full performance, because he's got the backup dancer background. Yeah. And how he loves to get our attention with, his moves and with all the funny random tidbits that come out of his mouth on social media and in his classes. So for anyone listening, watching that's not familiar with Dancing with the Stars, it's been around since 2005. This is going to be its 30th season, and it features a celebrity. Sometimes I have to do air quotes because some of these celebrities are, from days of old, maybe 80s, 90s. And it features a celebrity being paired with a professional dancer. So the two-person teams dance together. They get scored by a panel of judges, and then also the TV audience, the viewing audience watching, also can vote. And so that factors in each week. The team with the lowest vote total gets eliminated. So for anyone worried, I was personally, before we received confirmation from Cody himself and Peloton on social media, I was concerned he was going to be taking kind of a sabbatical from Peloton. But Cody's confirmed, as well as Peloton in several comments on social media, that he will continue to record on-demand content and teach live. Now, we don't know how that's going to work. I know in the past, normally the professional dancer travels to where the celebrity lives and trains with them kind of out of their home base, wherever that may be. So I would imagine whoever he's going to be paired with, and it right now it
Cheryl
hasn't been
Burke.
announced.
Cheryl Burke. No, it has. Yeah,
Oh, it
Cheryl
has.
Burke's going to
Okay.
be. Yeah, Cheryl Burke's going to be. I believe is going to be his partner. That was what I had seen.
Because I know at the time when Chris Lewis wrote this up, it was rumored, but it was said to be probably announced on premiere night. But you saw
maybe.
Cheryl Burke?
Okay. I did see Cheryl Burke, but I could be wrong.
I thought that was the main. That's what everybody was gravitating towards for who his partner would be.
Got it.
But I assumed the person would travel to see Cody. I could imagine him going back and forth between LA and New York all the time, several times a week. So that's great news, because I was definitely I created a little TikTok with like a funny reaction, and then realizing Cody's going to not be teaching for a while before Peloton confirmed that he would still continue to teach, and people were kind of a little worried, and so I added a comment. Don't worry, he's still going to be around. We'll still get our time with Boo on the bike. But it's just super. It's like, it almost felt like I was going to be on the show. It's like, it's such a proud moment. Like, I just feel like so proud for him that he's on the show.
And I think most of the community felt that way, right? I think many of the community felt that way. I mean, people really felt it was about them, and that they were going to get, they felt so part of it. And what I loved seeing, John, were the instructors' reactions. I mean, they were truly, truly excited for him and proud, as you said.
And it seemed like a lot of them knew well in advance, because Jen Sherman posted in her Insta stories, now that the cat's finally out of the bag. So I'm sure, he was letting that inner circle in on the big secret. But also, I have to give credit to the Boo Crew. There was a couple members in the Boo Crew, Cody's fan group, that several days before the announcement, one of them had posted, said, "Wouldn't it be awesome if Cody was on DWTS?" And then someone else had posted, the pictures and trying to connect the dots. So kudos to the Boo Crew for cracking that. And then we went with those pictures, those paparazzi pictures that I posted comparing the detail of the calves.
Right. Right. No, it's huge. I mean, I was a huge Dancing with the Stars viewer back in the day, and probably the first 5 or 6 seasons, watched it religiously. And then I must have tired of it. Maybe I didn't really know the celebrities as well, and I stopped watching. But it's a nice escapism. It's just fun. It's something just so you can watch with the whole family. Everybody can get involved. So I think that it's going to be something fun to do. Interestingly enough, John, I had seen, kind of looking at some of the comments made, Len Goodman, who, as we know, is one of the judges and is a British guy. His daughter is a Peloton member. And she commented on something. So, and she was saying how she hadn't seen her dad in some time, but she was looking forward to, having this part of it being, the connection between now her dad and Peloton, etc. And then, of course, John, we can't leave out the fact that Cody was starstruck when he got to see Mel C. And he even said, right, that was probably even bigger for him than getting on the show. How cool is that?
Well, he's also said that seems to be his favorite Spice Girl, because he's also said in rides, and he'll comment on this on girl groups and boy bands, which member is the strongest dancer or the strongest singer, which you might not always agree with, but I agree with him in this, that he believes Mel C does have the strongest voice in the Spice Girls, and he'll throw that out there when he plays the Spice Girls song. But yeah, super fun. And Mel C, and she's a Peloton member, if memory serves, as well.
She is.
Isn't her leaderboard name like something really original, like Mel C?
Sporty? No, I think it's Sporty Spice UK. Sporty Spice UK. And it was funny though, because her picture did not look like her, but it was interesting because when she was on the premiere on the show, on the Good Morning America show, when they announced it, she has a tattoo on her arm, and I noticed that was the same tattoo in her picture, so I kind of put the two together. But initially, I wasn't sure if that, because there's so many Sporty Spices on the member platform, but she is Sporty Spice UK from what I can tell. And she doesn't work out too often on the platform if you go and take a look at her profile.
Maybe Cody,
but
Cody will give her
Cody
some private lessons.
Exactly. But this is huge. You know, we were worried, is this kind of like our Pelo Buddy TMZ moment? But I think it's so much more than that. I think this is just, you know, for the community, for us all to kind of gather together as the amazing family that we all are and root for him. And, you know, and we'll wait and see. I don't want to jinx it. I certainly don't want to jinx it. So I'm just crossing my fingers, and I think this will be huge if he brings home that mirror ball. I think that will be pretty awesome.
Well, if there's ever a reason now to watch Dancing with the Stars, this is it. Because I haven't watched that show since Tom Bergeron used to be the host.
Yeah,
I think I just recently found out he's no longer the host of it, which is a bummer.
Tyra Banks.
Yeah.
Tyra Banks. So it'll be fun. And I think I have to tell you, I think just from taking a look at the other celebs, as you said, that are on there, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool mix-up. So I think it'll be fun to see, you know, where it goes and what people are rooting for. But with the Peloton community behind Cody, feel pretty strong. We'll be watching him for a few weeks, for quite some time. So that's something exciting to look forward to. Yeah, and some more Peloton excitement, or is it? This past week we did see the launch, John, of their private label Apparel. So they had actually started their own Instagram page just this past week, inviting members to participate in their own apparel IG. And as well as there were tons of ads to members about the drop. I had never seen this before in any other drop, correct? Where we just saw, you know, we kind of leading up to the actual drop, which was this past Thursday. They even had a press release about the launch, which stated that it included style-forward, expertly crafted pieces that had been wear tested by real Peloton members, non-members, and Peloton instructors, doing Peloton workouts across all of the different platforms. So according to Peloton, this line was crafted, as they said, to outperform, outlast, and stand the test of time. Jill Foley, John Foley's wife, as we all know, and Peloton's VP of Apparel, had said in a statement, and I'm going to quote this, I couldn't be more thrilled to officially launch Peloton Apparel, a brand that has been influenced by our amazing instructors and at its core is centered around supporting our members. Jill does go on to say that with each collection, we're offering reliable pieces that support our sweatiest days, your busiest days, your rest days, and beyond. Our goal with the spread is to enhance our members' lifestyles, not just one part of their day. So interestingly enough, though, John, while we don't seem to see that the reviews from members have been quite so favorable, the telegraph.co.uk had an article regarding the launch. It was a really in-depth article where author Alice Barraclough had shared that she had gotten to try and test some of the articles before they dropped. So she did like the contemporary look and the feel of some of the high neck sports bras and the matching high-waisted leggings. But while she liked the palette of these muted colors that they brought out, which are kind of like a muted blue, burgundy, thyme green, and there's quite a lot of black, she did state, though, that they were not the best when doing a high-intensity workout, as they definitely showed sweat marks in areas where you'd rather hide them. Now, that is something that I have found in some of the Peloton apparel, is that, you know, if you're working out in your own home, it's absolutely fine. And, you know, if you're not going to be prancing around in a studio or in a gym, you don't need to be embarrassed. But, and certainly for a shorter workout, it was fine. But if you were going to be doing a, you know, pretty extensive HIIT cardio class, or something like that, and you wanted to kind of leave in your wear afterwards, might be a little bit embarrassing. And something that folks, you know, it was something that she kind of felt was negative in the apparel. She did also ask the question that I know a lot of folks has been on a lot of folks' minds. Can Peloton stand up to those other brands that we're all so familiar with? So the Sweaty Betties, Lululemon, and that's certainly from an English perspective. If we bring it down, stateside to the, Width and Beyond Yoga, some of those brands that folks like because of the name, they tried and tested. So that's going to be something that I think, folks are going to see. Are they going to be able to kind of compete with those huge names? And for those of you that kind of are in the know, Lululemon over the last, couple of weeks has absolutely way exceeded their expectations, certainly from a stock perspective. And folks are just, totally into Lululemon. So I do follow them and do know that. So that'll be interesting. Kind of going back to what she had said though, John, another flaw that she commented on was the fact that the leggings don't have padding in the backside. And that's something that I have heard repeatedly from members. They're just kind of normal leggings that us women wear, and even for the guys. So that was something that was interesting, that I had noticed that she had brought to our attention. People magazine also weighed in, and an article dropped this past Thursday on the apparel through People. They shared how Jill had really listened to the instructors and what they were looking for, as well as paying attention to what members were sharing on the Facebook page. So she said that they were constantly making sure that they were keeping up and reading the criticisms, and there have certainly been, and the feedback. And they took that into serious consideration when they were looking at launching, this new apparel line. So they've definitely put a lot of effort, and she said they're still working on it. There's still things that they're not happy about. One of them was some of the more bustier instructors had said that they really wanted bra tops that they felt comfortable on the bike. And in fact, Ali Love was one that had said to Jill, I don't feel comfortable, being so exposed on the bike. The bra is something that that was something that she had said. So, she had gone on to say that they really did want to move away from the branded apparel. They really wanted to bring it more, in-house and have it more a Peloton branded line, rather than collaborating with the Lululemons, the Beyond Yogas, the Width, apparel, etc. So Spiritual Gangster was another one that they've worked with quite closely. And she said they took what they've learned from those brands. So they've definitely utilized some of the things that those brands have done well and incorporated that, in the company's first in-house brand. She said that the members were also getting frustrated with the different sizing. So she found that, some of the company's sizing was definitely different to what they were experiencing, and they wanted it to be the same across the board. So those, I think, were really important things we should take away from what they're looking at doing in launching this new in-house brand. And as I said, again, what the instructor said was something that she was definitely most interested about, because ultimately, she wants to make sure that what the instructors are wearing is going to ultimately be what we're as members are going to be wearing, and everybody, wants to be comfortable. And again,
Right.
that is how they came up with those high neck bras, etc. For Jess Sims, she claimed that for her, it was the clothing and the fit that was, the kind of the material of the different apparel that was important to her. And of course, how it fit. She didn't want to be yanking up her, her leggings when she's working out. Somebody else was Matt. Matt Wilpers apparently played a huge role in giving his output, input at least, into what he was looking for. And you'll find this part interesting, John. Cody actually weighed in too. And this came as a surprise to me. I did not know this, but Cody had studied consumer apparel and retail in college. Did you know that?
No, but I do know his extensive retail experience of working at Hollister and other mall clothing stores.
Right? But but I didn't know that that's what Cody had done in college. So, you know, which I thought was really interesting. So they definitely utilized his input. And, you know, Cody had said, and the article had said that he describes himself as a very opinionated homosexual. And that his comment was that workout clothes needs to be functional and support his toughest workouts. He said he also wanted to feel cute, and that he specifically asked for more lifestyle options so that he could wear outside of the studio. And then a really cute comment from Jess was, as instructors, we have such special connections with our members. And I think it's so cool when Peloton Apparel adds another layer to that connection. She went on to add that I love when people tag me on social media after taking one of my classes because we're twinning in the same Peloton look. It's just such a cool thing. I know I'll see that happening more and more with the launch of Peloton Apparel. So there you have it. Lots of new stuff that is going to be out there. I know that you and I had bantered back and forth, stating that we weren't thrilled with the apparel that has been launched lately. And, you know, even with this launch, there was nothing that really kind of jumped out at me. I did purchase a couple things. I did. Okay. I did. You know, there were actually a couple things that I was looking for. So I have a Nike Peloton green, you know, bra top, but I didn't really have any pants that went with it. I would wear it with black. There was a cute, that time green that they were talking about. There was, you know, a cute pair of pants that I got. There were a couple of the tank tops that I found that I've been wearing more and more. So I had gotten that. I didn't buy a ton of stuff, and I had just bought a couple things on the sale. As I said to you before, I just don't need stuff. I almost feel guilty when I continue to buy. You know, because I don't feel, you know, I don't feel the need to have that.
Well,
so,
I've built up such a apparel collection. I don't know if you've ever sold anything on the Peloton buy, sell, trade apparel Facebook page, but I just had so many shirts over the years. A year or two ago, I think I just sold a lot of a dozen shirts, and the resale is still pretty good on them. And these are none of them. I never work out in my Peloton shirts. I just wear old Lululemon shirts that I don't care about. So they're all, you know, they're all in good shape. But yeah, like I had to clear them out. And that page, you know, there's somebody that'll buy something Peloton related regardless of what it is. So it's a good there's a good resale market for Peloton related swag. But I did hear, you didn't mention Adrian Williams, but I did hear his input was to make sure there were no sleeves on any of his tops and to expose as much side boobage as possible because he's all about the side titty.
I love that, John. I did not. Are you making that up? Because I didn't read that in the article.
But I'm sure that was, if he gave feedback, I'm sure it was no sleeves on any of my shirts.
That was it. Because they joke about that. I think him and Sam Yo cut all their sleeves off. It's like the biggest joke about
Sam
them,
always
right?
cuts. Yeah.
Sam cuts his sleeves off.
Anytime Adrian, and every now and then he'll post something on a picture of himself on Instagram, and he'll be wearing sleeves, and I'll always make a comment along the lines of, "Was this Photoshopped because you have sleeves on? What's going on?" Anyway, let's.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. So I know there was a lot of back and forth with members. I was chatting to, you know, people were asking, what did I buy? And a couple people were, I think some of the members were disappointed. So let's see how it fares. I got to say though, that I don't know if they truly got rid of all that sales stuff when they reduced everything down to 70%, but there was nothing for sale. I mean, there's nothing on sale. As far as, you know, sale items go, there's tons for sale, but nothing on sale. So that was really interesting. It was really all the new stuff. So yeah, I guess we'll see. We'll see what comes in. We'll see what we'll see. We'll see what we'll see. And moving on, John, although we've spoken about this in the last few episodes, we did want to share and reiterate that the new location for the London studio is going to open for production this coming Tuesday, the 14th of September. And there's certainly lots to be excited about. There is no question that the UK instructors are hyped. There was a cute video that Peloton had put out, and it was really cool actually to see Hannah and Bradley and Cliff and Myla being featured and not seeing the normal of, kind of Sam and Ben and Leanne. But it was nice for them, and they really are hyped and excited about all the new things. So with all the new coaches that have been teased, and I know you have some more to share with us, as well as obviously us now knowing that the tread is going to be a fixture in the UK studio, and we'll be seeing that on the schedule. We will also be seeing live strength classes, which have never come out of the UK. And I've told you guys, and that Ben and strength go hand in hand for me. So being able to do live strength classes with Ben, I think it's going to be fantastic. So that's going to be launched out of the UK. Some of the highlights coming out of this past week, Eric and Cliff will have a 2-for-1. Both Ben and Leanne will kick off the live schedule on Tuesday. So they are both doing live classes with the opening on Tuesday. And our friend Bradley Rose will be bopping at his Britpop ride on Wednesday. So he comes out on the second day with a Britpop ride. And he had a really funny Instagram post this past week where he was trying to figure out what was going to be his best angle in the camera. And he said he's already figured, he's making sure that in rehearsal, he can determine which his best, and as the actor that he is, I'm sure he knows exactly what his best angle is. So he
always talks about the one camera angle he doesn't like.
Yes,
off to the side that hits him from a diagonal. He's such a dork.
He is hysterical.
He's so dorky sometimes, but he cracks me up. But I love the recent Insta reel that he shared where it was him going to bed after winning an argument with his wife, and then as the camera slowly zooms out, you realize he's in the trunk of the car, and then the boot of the car for the UK. European folk, the boot of the car lid goes down and closes him in it.
I don't know if you saw the post of that after of that, but Sophia, his wife actually did say that, because I follow her on social, and she was saying how it took them so many takes to get there because I guess he's like 6'2". So can you imagine you getting in the trunk of a car? I mean, he's probably the same height as you are. And he said that try and put that 6'2" in a, in boot trunk of a car was quite comical. And he was not happy because they took that, a million times. So that was really funny. One last thing that I wanted to share though, folks, is that the Peloton Output, they had actually also shared their excitement on their opening, stating that the studio is even bigger and better, and they are looking forward to sharing what members, can expect. So important though, I think for most folks, is that this is going to be awesome for the European folk because there are going to be so many more live classes that will now be available for those in the German market. And as we've mentioned before, we're certainly looking at different European markets opening up as well. Definitely for the Australian folk too, because they'll be able to do evening classes, so like 8:30 evening classes that will give the Australian folk, because it will be the next day for them, an opportunity to ride live as well. So I know that that's been probably one of the biggest complaints with the Australian community, is that they don't get to do, live rides. And that's fun for everybody, especially those folk, and especially now that they're going to start to hit milestones. I'm sure most of them, I know that our friend Miza, who we had on the show, is over 100 rides, and gosh, she is like a beast on that on the equipment. So she definitely wants to be able to do live rides. So and the different modalities.
I can totally relate to the live, wanting to do live, because the majority of classes I'll do are live, because live just hits different. When you're in the moment and you're live with the instructor and everyone else on the leaderboard, there's an extra level of excitement. So
I agree.
I feel that community,
I
wanting
totally agree
to have a
with you,
better
John,
schedule.
because so many folks have said to me, I'm so intimidated by live. And, I had a girlfriend out in California that I encouraged to do her 50th on a live, and she was new to the platform. And she was like, I said, there's no difference. Nobody knows that, it just gives you that adrenaline to know that there are other people on the leaderboard at that same time with you. So definitely tons.
I can relate to when we first got our bike in the summer of 2017. I did not live ride much. I was completely intimidated because I felt like if I joined a live ride, I felt like that kid showing up, like that new kid in school showing up into the classroom and all the kids going, "Who's this dude?"
Right.
That was my inner
insecurity.
Yeah, exactly. And then I got over it, and it was really, I'd never look back. So
yeah, there is something. So they also stated that while they're not quite ready to open up for members, as we know, they do want us to be ready to experience a whole new level of immersion. So they're bringing us what we love about PSNY to London. So I think that everybody's got a lot to look forward to starting next week. And that I am going to be on every damn live ride that there is. And I was really excited. I have a birthday coming up in a little bit. And my girl is going to be on the schedule on my birthday. So I'm so excited. So that's going to be really fun.
The stars have aligned.
The stars have aligned. So I think it's going to be a milestone and a birthday, which is always kind of cool because you're higher up on that leaderboard, so they get to see you. So lots of fun things coming out of London, and we're excited to share with you next week once they go live.
Well, a couple potential UK tread coach rumors out of London for you. We have two individuals, both possible UK tread coaches. Jermaine Johnson and John Hosking, rather. So with the announcement of the new Peloton studio in London, the company also teased that they will be announcing some new coaches very soon to go along with it. So we've previously reported here at Pelo Buddy on Jocelyn Thompson and Susie Chan, who might be joining the UK team. And now there is a rumor that indicates that Jermaine Johnson will be joining the UK tread team. Earlier this year, Jermaine was named one of the best personal trainers in London. And John Hosking, over the last year, he's hosted a series of free training sessions through his Instagram stories. And in addition to being a fitness trainer, John has also worked as a model and a presenter. And last year, he launched a fundraiser to raise money for CALM, which stands for Campaign Against Living Miserably, which is an organization aimed at preventing suicides. And he raised nearly 7,000 pounds for them by using a rowing machine and rowing a marathon distance for 5 days in a row. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
So Peloton, they've been publicly teasing these new coaches that are going to be coming soon. The Peloton tread's now back on sale currently in the UK, so it makes it really likely that this is going to be happening, probably with the studio opening there. So it could be any day now. So stay tuned.
Yeah, really exciting. That John is one good-looking individual. So move over, Bradley Rose. There's a new guy in town.
It's a new shirtless dude.
Right?
We also know Peloton will be announcing, Amanda, 3 German tread coaches later this fall. So they're really the tread roster is going to be beefed up pretty quickly, pretty soon.
Which is great. I think that'll be awesome. Yeah. And as we said, it'll be awesome for those European folk to be able to now, especially with the sale of the tread in Germany, they want German instructors. So that'll be cool.
I'm just glad we will have more runs, hopefully, in addition to the runs that we already have at Peloton Studios New York, because the live running schedule is lacking, and we've discussed this before.
Yeah.
So it'd just be nice to have more options. So, new artist series, Amanda, to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Metallica's Black Album, along with some other metal artist hits. We have the Spotify Metal Essentials series. Peloton just announced there's 2 rides. One ride already went down on Wednesday, the 8th, with Kendall. It was a 30-minute ride, and in addition to Metallica, it had hits from Pantera, Rob Zombie, Motorhead, and Slipknot. And the other ride, it debuted as an encore ride with German instructor Eric Jaeger. It was a 30-minute class on the afternoon of Friday, September 10th. I haven't done either yet, but I know Kendall's. You definitely want to do a little warm up, because her metal rides are no joke.
You won't see me on either of those, I'm afraid. So we'll have to leave you for a pick of the week if you end up doing them and you like them, because as much as I'm not a huge rock fan, I am definitely, and I'm starting to appreciate rock with Leanne. So that much I'll give, but you will never see me on a metal ride.
Well, it's the sadist. Sure. It's the sadist in me that wants the pain.
Right. I love it. Yeah. And then I guess you've got. Yeah. Go ahead.
Some speculation. So, are we going to see a new Broadway series happening? A Dear Evan Hansen Broadway series to correspond with the movie release at the end of this month. For those not familiar with the Broadway musical, Dear Evan Hansen is described as a deeply personal and profoundly contemporary musical about life and the way we live it. A letter that was never meant to be seen, a lie that was never meant to be told, a life he never dreamed he could have. Evan Hansen is about to get the one thing he's always wanted, a chance to finally fit in. And so for those, folk just like me who love Broadway, we could see the next installment of the Peloton Broadway series at the end of the month. It's the musical Dear Evan Hansen. It's being released as a movie on September 24th, and there's already a Broadway yoga flow on the Peloton class schedule for September 20th. So all signs seem to point to it's a good indicator.
That's going to be fantastic.
I'm not familiar. I had to look up. I had never really heard of the musical, so I don't know if you knew much about it.
I do. Yeah, I do. It is I've seen it. It's phenomenal. Ben Platt is somebody that is actually local, I believe, to here. I'm trying to think now. A woman that I know that I know from the community it actually got involved with the financial side of the show, and it was a huge success. And Ben Platt's gone on to do amazing things and just release his own record. He was the lead in the show back when it was first launched on Broadway. It is wonderful. It is wonderful. So, and especially with Peloton's community being so inclusive and that bullied kid, that's what it's kind of all about. It's so amazing. So I'm looking really forward to that coming onto being a ride or a run. Yeah. But it was very exciting, John, when Jess and Ben officially confirmed their location.
What we already knew.
It was funny because I did comment on Ben's social media post.
I did too.
Sorry that Pelo Buddy spilt the beans, but I guess once we did, there was no going anywhere from that. And
I commented on the same post and I said, looking forward to the Iceland content.
Right. So as we all know, we were really excited in our investigative mode the week before last when we determined that Iceland was in fact where Jess and Ben were. And what we saw this past week was both of them did share on their social media that is in fact where they were, and that there should be some amazing content coming out of their trip. So it looks like, from what I surmised, and John, please fill in if you think, but it looked like there are going to be some rides because Ben did comment that this was the road that you would be seeing on one of the rides. But it looks like there may be a 2-for-1 hike that the two of them were doing. And we saw some Instagram reels going, some footage going of the two of them hiking, and both of them looking at each other going, we thought we were fit. And this is like so hard. I mean, Jess was like sweating. I just
looked pretty
love...
cold and wet. It looked really cold and wet there. I mean, they were,
yes.
For September,
Bundled
I was
up, right?
But I guess elevation-wise, they must have been pretty high up. So
it was insane. But you know what I love, John, is just the amazing friendship that the two of them have. And, here they are on opposite sides of the pond, with Ben being in the UK and Jess being in the US. But it just shows how connected, regardless of where the instructors are, these instructors are, how connected they really are. And the friendship that the two of them, they just looked so comfortable with each other. They looked like they were having the best fun. And it was so nice not to have to speculate, knowing that Ben is obviously engaged to Leanne now, not having to speculate, are they dating? Or we could just enjoy them being friends, right? Because that's what they were.
It's such for me, it's such an unlikely pairing personality-wise. Because Ben is very... Well, Ben, he's just seems more conservative. He doesn't swear. He's very, when he teaches, he sticks to, your
plan.
form and the plan. Where Jess, I mean, she's just freaking hilarious, swearing and just all sorts of funny things like Cody coming out of her mouth. So It's just funny. It's almost like a yin and yang. Which
exactly.
I'm not knocking, but it's just funny that they paired each other up. I would think like Jess and Hannah Frankson, like two wild, colorful personalities. That's the kind of, pairing, I would think.
Yeah, so that's actually a really good point, though, because I think, truthfully, that's what makes them so good together.
That's what
is that they can kind of balance each other out in that, Jess is going to be like a maniac and Ben's going to be more conservative, and the two of them will kind of balance each other out in whatever they're going to share with us, from which I'm sure is going to be gorgeous regardless of the weather. I'm sure they didn't hope, they probably didn't anticipate maybe the, dreary, rainy weather. I have no clue what the weather's like in Iceland at any time of the year. So I'm sure they researched that quite rigorously before they put them out there. But it just looked like they all were having so much fun. And I love that they shared that with us. I love that they shared with us their, we didn't have to wait until it launched for us to see that they were there. And, that's something that I think they're starting to recognize, that the community, they kind of have hid everything from us for so long on different things. It was just nice to be a part of this and get excited with them for when they launch it in the fall. So now we kind of all know that it's Iceland. We know that it's something that we can get to look forward to. And when they launch, we'll say, oh yeah, remember when they were out there and they had so much fun. So I absolutely
you don't have to keep everything.
Exactly.
They don't have to keep everything such a big
under
secret.
wraps. Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, that was fun to see that whatever we had surmised did in fact come to fruition, and they acknowledged that.
It's always fun to see a little behind the scenes shots to sort of
definitely
give you that window into their world a little bit. Well, in other news, CEO John Foley and Chief Content Officer Jen Cotter will be speaking at the technology conference Techcrunch Disrupt. Techcrunch Disrupt, it's 3 days of nonstop online programming with two big focuses: founders and investors shaping the future of disruptive technology and ideas, and startup excerpts providing insight for entrepreneurs. And it is taking place over September 21st through the 23rd. And the website describes their little blurb on Jen and John. Basically says they're going to discuss the company's rise and successes and struggles amid the pandemic. And they're described Foley as the former CEO of Evite.com and Pronto.com, former president of BarnesandNoble.com, and the co-founder of Peloton. And Jen's background is in television programming, which includes stints at the Home Shopping Network and Oxygen Media. I only knew TechCrunch Disrupt from the TV show Silicon Valley on HBO. When I don't know if you watched that show, but the main characters,
don't
you know,
know.
they're creating this like compression software like algorithm, and they go there and they blow everyone's minds. I thought it was a made up like conference for the show, but it's actually real, out on the West Coast. But it's kind of funny, just random.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very
But it'll be
interesting.
interesting. I know I will be on bated breath waiting to see if there's any reveal or anything that would point towards a rower or give us any indication on, when that might happen. So stay tuned, September 21st
My
for
birthday.
more deets. Your birthday, yeah.
That's it. I'll make sure I watch and see what happens. And then I guess moving on, John, next up is our Instructor in the News segment. And although our first story is more about Peloton in the news, it's an article that was in the New York Times titled, "Sometimes I Hate My Husband's Peloton. Whilst exercising is hugely beneficial, can too much of a good thing cause tension in your relationship?" And haven't we asked that question, members, right? I know there are lots of you out there that are in a similar boat. It was a really, really well-written article with tons of information. The article did open with at the peak of the pandemic, my husband was embroiled in a full-blown love affair. It made him frequently unavailable, led to several surprising credit card statements, and impinged upon family time. To quote Princess Diana, "I started to feel that there were three of us in this marriage, and one of us was an exercise bike." The article goes on to say that while we all know stress is a big risk factor for marital instability, and one way to combat that is to exercise, but when that form of stress relief becomes the primary activity in your partner's life, it can drive a wedge between you and your partner. It's a great article, John, because you know what, it does resonate with so many of us, as I said. And often when we are as obsessed as we are, but our partners are not, and you're fortunate enough because Jackie is just as obsessed as you are. But in my relationship, Mark is not. You know, he's just doesn't seem to find the time, and that article literally was like as if there was seriously a looking glass into our marriage. I mean, he would often tell me that, you know, he is way down on the totem pole. I mean, it's, you know, it's the kids, it's my parents, it's Peloton, it's my friends, and then it's him. It used to be work, and then I retired, but Peloton is definitely, you know, way up there. And I know many a Sunday morning, Leanne would have a 7 a.m. live ride, and, you know, I'd be up at 6:15 and getting ready to get on the, you know, on the bike, and he would be irritated because that would be the one morning where he didn't have to get up, and you know, he'd love a lounging, you know, Sunday morning, and I wanted to be on the bike. So I definitely could understand, and that article, I think for lots of us, you know, I know we laugh about it, but it can impact. I mean, you know, it certainly can impact a marriage. One guy said how, you know, he had certainly put on some of the weight during the pandemic, and he knew he was about 25 pounds over, and his husband had purchased a you know, I think it was a rower. It wasn't necessarily a Peloton piece of equipment, but it was a rower that he had put in the bedroom, and it was like right there. And he said, you know, his husband was happy because he could get up and ride the rower, and it was right there. And you know, he would look over and be this, you know, in his definition, this fat slob lying in bed, and this rower would be staring at him each day, as it is for so many of us with our bikes, you know, or even, you know, the treads that are in our bedrooms with folks that don't have space and fortunate enough to have in a different part of the house. So you know, it was just an interesting article in, you know, here we are pushing Peloton, the Peloton community become this immediate family to us, but sometimes our partners are not on that band. So it was definitely an interesting article to read.
This article definitely hit home because I shared it on Instagram in my stories and I linked it. And within a couple minutes, I got a message from someone I've never messaged with before. And she said, LOL, I wrote that article. And I think her name is Holly Sanders.
Yes, Burke. Or Burke, no? Or was it
Holly
Sanders?
Burke,
I mean,
sorry.
I think Holly it was Holly Burke. Yeah, yeah.
So I responded, I said, LOL, I feel seen figuratively and literally, Holly, because I get that on so many levels. Just before, maybe it was like in January of 2020, you know, a couple months before the pandemic hit, Jackie kind of sat me down and said, you're, and this is just when we had the bike. We had one bike then. She said, you're working out way too much. Like, you got to find other things to do. Like, it's just excessive, you know? So we agree. So and I agreed. I was like, yeah, you're right. Okay. I'm obsessing a little too much, maybe. And it's, you know, it's addicting, you know? So we agreed on, I would work out, keep it under 2 hours a day, which is very reasonable when you think about how much people probably spend exercising on average. And then we got a second bike, but she definitely, you know, felt like a while I was prioritizing time with Peloton over everything else. Yeah. So yeah, we had the talk.
Yeah. And I mean, that was it. I mean, that's what the article, there was no question that was what the article said. You know, it's one thing being on the bike, but then we find that, you know, 10 minutes to stretch. And she would say, you know, here she was busy making dinner and running around and doing the kids' homework. And her husband was, you know, just stretching for 10 minutes with the foam roller. And she's like, God damn it, you know, what are you doing kind of thing.
It's also on social media. You're posting before, after, right. You're on the instructor lives, making TikTok. So it adds up into a good
right. And then you belong to a group. I mean, I'm part of the, you know, I'm an admin on the STU group, and every night I'm, you know, doing the milestone posts, and Mark gets frustrated. I mean, I have to say there is no question.
We're doing the show every week and prepping.
Yeah. So it is. So I think we need to find balance, but I always tell him, and I will tell you this, folks, what a great obsession to have. I would rather be doing this than, God forbid, having an affair or shopping excessively or whatever else some other obsessions could be. So, you know, it's a healthy obsession. We just have to figure out how we need to balance it. But the article is a good way to kind of put it all into perspective.
If Peloton being a cult is wrong, then I don't want to be right, Amanda.
Right. I'm 100% there with you, John. You and I are on the same page, my friend. You and I are.
Well, and other instructors in the news, Selena Samuela was recently interviewed in Shape Magazine. I just noticed Shape Magazine, they get all the interviews.
Yeah.
They have like some... We got to figure out how they get all these interviews, because we need to get the hookup so we can interview some instructors as well on Pelo Buddy. But anyway, Selena was recently interviewed. The title of the interview is Peloton Selena Samuela on Recovering and Flourishing After Unthinkable Heartbreak. And it talked a lot. I thought it was interesting because she talks a lot about, you know, growing up in Italy and relocating to the United States, but she actually bounced back and forth a few different times between the United States and Italy. And then her family, they settled up in upstate New York. And then she went to school in Hawaii because she wanted to get away and surf and have the weather. But she also talked about a relationship early on in her life, in her early and mid 20s, with her boyfriend, whose name was Lexi then. And he battled depression and addiction. And sadly, he died in a rehab facility in 2014. Oh. But it was a really good interview because I didn't know a lot of her background. She said she was very, you know, rebellious as a kid, but also a nerdy, sort of book smart teenager. So it was a really nice, sort of nice bio on kind of, you know, her background, where she came from, and some of the struggles that she's had.
Interesting. Yeah. What do I have? I have, Kendall was actually featured. Yeah, she was featured in Extra TV, talking about how she got LeBron James working up a sweat. I mean, how about that? She did also share some tips about how to get back into the swing of things, as we emerge out of the pandemic. So it was a great little clip that she had on there, and she's so gorgeous to listen to and beautiful to look at. So that was really fun seeing her on Extra TV. Yeah.
There's 2 recent Robin Arzon interviews. One article in Shape magazine titled "Pregnancy and Motherhood Has Taught Peloton's Robin Arzon About the Power of No." And then the other one was a podcast interview. The podcast Meditative Story. Robin talked all about her in the Florida Keys in her 100-mile ultra marathon down in the Florida Keys when she did her ultra marathon, which is just crazy to me, unthinkable to do a 100-mile event like that.
Amazing.
But that's just how what a beast she is.
Chelsea Jackson Roberts. She's actually been in the Instructor in the News quite a bit lately. Interestingly enough, she was actually on Chase Jarvis's live show, and in the episode they explored her unique, non-traditional path. So I'm not sure how many of you are aware of this, but Chelsea was an elementary school teacher, and she went from being an elementary school teacher to a yoga guru. Some of the topics that they get into are the key mindset changes that help navigate challenges, finding more moment of quiet and rest, and how to find balance between ease and effort, and the superpower of the introvert. So I guess she potentially had been an introvert previously, and how one comes out. So just absolutely amazing to listen to, and this episode was wonderful. Yeah. And one last little bit of Instructor in the News, and this is a big one, folks. We were so thrilled just this past Thursday, Olivia Amato announced her engagement. We had some suspicions that this was coming, but she made it official, and we wanted to leave it to her to make the announcement. So we are so thrilled, and look really forward to yet another Peloton wedding in the books, or at least coming up. So huge congrats from your Pelo Buddy fam and your Peloton fam, and we look forward to hearing much more. So John, exciting news.
Well, all right, well, let's dive into our picks of the week now. Amanda, what do you got?
Yeah, so as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, John, I diverted at the beginning of this week and decided to test that treadmill out a little bit. So we spoke about last week these amazing new coaches that were being launched on the Peloton platform. And I decided that I was going to take to the tread. And I did. So my picks of the week, folks, start off with Kristen Ferguson. She is my new boo. And I have to tell you, she is a powerhouse, an absolute powerhouse. So I'm going to share both, and I'm going to actually have both of these as my picks of the week. No question, my top pick of the week was her 20-minute Caribbean run, and that was back from Monday, September the 6th. So it was Caribbean music, which is one of my favorite. Just fun, tropical. She dressed appropriately. She was just really fun to run. Well, just like it was kind of like that Caribbean vibe I felt going. She's amazing. I hit a personal best on that run. I really did fantastically well, and I was really pleased with it. And that was after I actually took her premier ride. So I ended up starting the week out. Right, excuse me, I keep doing that, her premier run. Thank you, John.
I've done it too.
I keep doing that. So I actually started, what I ended up wanting to do was do each one of the new instructors' premier runs, which I did. So I started the week out with Marcel. I then went into doing Daniel's, and lastly did Kirsten's. And Kirsten, as I said, was my initial pick of the week. So both the Caribbean 20-minute run as well as her premier run were fantastic. I related to her, and we ended up having some lovely back and forth banter for two reasons. One was, and I know this sounds so obnoxious, but I am going to just say it, and apologies to those that I offend, but her Cartier bracelet flew off as she was running, and it has happened to me. I am fortunate to have a beautiful Cartier bracelet, and we were joking because a couple of the instructors had actually commented on it on Kristen's social media, and I reached out to her. So I have found a solution for the Cartier Bracelet Fix in that
a safety latch. I mean, it's
no.
pretty...
So they actually. So for those folks watching the show that are fortunate enough to have them, Jen Sherman and a few others, there is now a mechanism that they put in the bracelets that actually don't allow them to open. So they do tend to unfortunately open, and especially working out. So if you have more than one, they tend to clink together and they open up. And I had had mine replaced a couple times, and I finally went into the store down on Fifth Avenue in New York, and they had told me that Cartier had now brought out something where they put something in that fixes them. So I shared that with Kristen, and I will tell you guys a funny little story is that Kendall had been doing a ride few months ago, and a bracelet had fallen off hers. And of course, I immediately, the good Samaritan that I am, reached out to her and told her that she could get her Cartier bracelet fixed. And it wasn't a Cartier bracelet. And she came back and said to me,
it was a knockoff.
It wasn't even a knockoff. And I was so embarrassed. And my daughter, who was, I think I was driving when I was sending her the DMs, was like, Mom, that is so obnoxious. I can't believe that you just assumed that she had one. And now aren't you embarrassed? And I was embarrassed. So the only reason I reached out to Kristen, and I'm going on a tangent here, but it was kind of cute, was because she did say her Cartier bracelet. She goes, oh, my Cartier just flew off. And we got into a little bit of exchange. And with that, one of the things that she had mentioned in her premiere ride is that she has been through infertility. And as all of you know, I'm very open about my own infertility journey, even though it was many, many moons ago. And I'm so blessed to have my 3 kids. She shared that, and she was just so open and raw and honest. And I love it when people are. So I love it when people are, just because there are so many in the community that deal with infertility and have used the Peloton a means of, just Coping, exactly. Yeah. So I went and I said to her, I appreciate, and I shared that, and she went on to ask me, more about mine. So we're friends, and I like that. I have a friend, John, in a new instructor. Don't tell Leanne.
Okay.
But I really like her. I really, really like her. So folks, definitely give her a try. If you haven't, if you are tread, and what I love about the tread, we've said this a million times, you don't have to own a Peloton tread to enjoy the Peloton platform, with the tread. So that's what I really like about it.
You don't need the Peloton bike or the tread.
Correct. More so the bike. I feel like the bike with the resistance and stuff, it's hard to just be on a spin bike and really get everything out of it. But I feel that with the tread, you really can just be on a regular tread and still get what you need out of it. Yeah. And on my tread, so I've got a lot this week. On my tread campaign that I'm on, Daniel McKenna. I loved him. I absolutely loved him. I don't know if my years of traveling to Ireland for work helped me understand everything that he was saying, or the fact that I did cheat and have the subtitles up there. I do love now that they have subtitles.
I was just gonna ask you. Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Were they accurate?
Very. I have to say they were great.
Was it live? Did you do it live?
I did.
Live subtitles? Okay.
There were live subtitles. No, excuse me. I did not do the run. I did not do the run live. So that run was back from last Tuesday, the 31st of August, and I did it this week. So I don't know. I'm assuming that it was, it was pretty correct when I was doing it, on demand. But I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's great. I love that he shared his father was a tradesman. He was a tradesman. He just came from a very normal, just a normal,
very blue collar background. Yeah,
absolutely.
Electrician jobs in New York City.
Correct.
I like that.
So he was down to earth. He was fun. I certainly think if clearly, if Peloton does land up in Ireland, as we've speculated in previous shows, he'll be a big, he'll be a big draw.
Favorite.
A big favorite. I loved how he spoke about his niece and nephew. He was just fun. So definitely give him a try if you haven't yet. I know he's on the strength platform. I haven't taken any of his strength workouts yet, but there were folks that were sharing his strength workouts on social media. So definitely try him out. And then, as all of you know, I am huge in my meditation, and I gotta tell you, as I had mentioned, I wasn't feeling great, post Monday or Tuesday. So I took to, ensuring that I got my blue dots. So I did my meditation. Aditi Shah on Tuesday had her 10-minute morning meditation. So that was from Tuesday the 7th. It was just a 10-minute morning meditation, and it was fantastic. So definitely encourage you to do that. And I will also add Ross Rayburn's 5-minute gratitude meditation from this past Thursday. So that was on Thursday the 9th. It was just 5 minutes. I was feeling miserable on Thursday morning. I woke up, I had this head cold. I was bummed that I hadn't been able to work out. And you know what? It just put it all into perspective for me. I felt an immense amount of gratitude that I was healthy. I didn't have COVID. It was just purely a summer cold. And I think they're important. So definitely throwing those out to you guys as continuing to push the meditation medallion on the platform. So those are mine.
All right. Well, I'm going to kick it off with a Robin Arzon 20-minute run from Monday, September 6th. Robin, she's made it very clear 90s are her favorite decade of music. And this one, it started off with Genuine's Pony. And it was just such a fun run of 20 minutes flew by of 90s hits. And yeah, for some reason lately, Robin's been making my picks, but she's really been like giving some good messages, giving some inspirational stories in her classes lately that I've really, and the music, obviously, I've really connected with. So her 20-minute 90s run from September 6th. And then I got in a live run with Bex Gentry this week. On the tread, a 30-minute, it's labeled as a recovery run, but I will just say there's no recoveries in it. You're just running at a steady pace for 30 minutes. So I posted a meme after the class the other day with Jeff Goldblum's face from Jurassic Park, and I said, you do plan on having recoveries in your recovering run, do you?
Too funny.
And she got a kick out of that. So 30-minute recovery run. There was a song in there that I don't think I've ever heard on the Peloton platform before in a class, and it's by Sneaker Pimps, and it's called 6 Underground. And I know this song from the movie The Saint with Val Kilmer from 1997. But it's such a good, chill song. So when this song came on sort of midway in the run, I was like, oh man, this is it was such a vibe that I unplugged I turned off my earbuds so I could get the music through the tread speakers, and I recorded a quick story while I slowed myself down to at least get to a speaking voice. Such a good song. So that was the moment, the connection for me in that run when that song came on. Callie Gullickson, I got in a 10-minute core live strength with her from Thursday, September 9th. Just a real good 10-minute core burn. Some good movements, we did these scissor kick movements on my back, with your legs up in the air. I've been wanting to do some strength with her, and I kept saying that I'm going to do it, and I follow her on her stories and I comment, so I kind of felt like a bit of a poser not having worked out with her yet. So I really made it a point to do something with her on the platform. So I got in the 10-minute core, which was great. So give that a shot if you haven't worked out with Callie yet or haven't done this 10-minute core. And then gonna close it off with a ride from Robin Arzon, her 20-minute hit from Wednesday, September 8th. Starts off with Regulate by Nate Dogg. but you've got Beastie Boys mixed in there, and then it kind of goes into this EDM vibe. Hard ride, but the music, holy shit, the music was so good in this one, Amanda. And I was doing it live. That was kind of my date with Jackie on the bike, where we got to work out with Robin. But man, the music was so freaking good in this one. So check out that one, 20-minute hit ride from Wednesday, September 8th with Robin. Those are my picks.
Fantastic, John. Wow. So you've also got a nice diversity of medallions out there that you've picked.
Of badges.
Awesome. Yeah.
I don't need no
great.
stinking badges.
Yeah, and I have to say, I think that you folks really enjoy us sharing this. A few people have reached out to me this past week. Somebody did the Disney ride that I spoke about, Leanne's, and had said that they did your Robin Arzon pick that you had from last week. So I think folks really do enjoy looking, hearing what we have to say, which is nice, and jumping on and doing those. So thank you for the feedback. We really appreciate that.
I also love to post, the classic Cody moments, but I try to always include the ride info when I know it and when I know that it's still available on demand. And that seems to generate a lot of, interest in going back and doing some older, Cody rides from the old 23rd Street studio. But I know whenever I'm in a class and there's a moment, I always try to post it in my stories, because I don't always post, like the post workout every time I do a workout. It's really only when there's a song or there's a moment that I make a connection to that I really feel that I want to share.
Yeah, that's
on
awesome.
Social media.
That's awesome. Yeah, well, lots of exciting stuff, and hopefully you guys, I know we didn't think there was going to be a lot, but the little bit of news that we had for you was pretty awesome news. So we excited, very, very, very. So we're excited to bring it all to you this week. And we hope that you guys all have a fantastic week ahead of you. From me here in Maryland, I want to say bye for now, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Bye for now from me in Michigan. And as always, I will see you on the leaderboard.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag, and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available so that you can listen to us while on the move. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV on any major platform and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.